I was returning from London, and I met this doctor who had been overseas, and I said, well, you play so well, couldn't we play together? And we played on every part of the ship for different groups. It was one of the crowded ships coming back just before Christmas of 1945.
Oh. Now that we're talking about Welford Russell, there is something I would like to say to clear up, obviously, a misunderstanding, because both the critics who reviewed our concert referred to his songs as arrangements of original melodies. And of course, they are original songs of his, and he, has steeped himself in this Elizabethan poetry, and he's written some 50 or so songs. And there are about 25 of them published. And I'm sure he would have been very upset to think that, it was published that he had only arranged them when, in fact, he wrote them,
Being part of the audience, listening to that group, I was struck with the fact that he didn't try to overdo them, and he kept them in the style of the Elizabethan period, and they sound very simple and lovely, rather than saying, the words don't get through because the intervals are rather difficult.
It's an honest musician-composer who thinks in those terms.
Absolutely.
And now we have the excellent songs written for these two great artists, Lois Marshall and Maureen Forrester. Two Eastern Canadian folk songs, the beautiful She's Like the Swallow.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And What Do You Say, Dear Sparrow and Dove. Both of them were set by Keith Bissell.
That's the beginning of a program and the end of the program. Yeah. Don't you think it's the hardest to choose?
I sure do.
Oh, I'd like you to say something about your having asked the Canadian composers what they could contribute.
Well, we did, I must say, in all fairness, we didn't just pick two composers and ask them, will you particularly...
I remember.
We had very little time, and we said, let's phone a few. I phoned a few, and Lois phoned a few, and we asked them, and some of them said, like Sruel Irving Glick said, he would have loved to, but he was busy on a composition at the time. He couldn't possibly have even sort of knocked one out, so to speak, for that short a period. So Robert Fleming... Mm-hmm. And who am I thinking of?
Keith Bissell.
Keith Bissell, sorry. Said they'd be delighted, and they sent us, one sent us 3 and the other 2, and we put them together, and they're really delightful. I mean, one of my favorite folk songs, I'm sure is yours too, is the Swallow.
Oh, yes.
She's Like the Swallow. I think that's perhaps the greatest English language folk song in Canada. It's the most original and beautiful that stays with you, and that's the secret of a folk song, isn't it? That it stays with you after you walk out of the theater or wherever you hear it. And it's been done in so many arrangements, but this one is particularly lovely.
I think it's so sensitive, really.
And then there's another one, the one at the end that Robert Fleming did. It's a very funny.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, the Newfoundland.
It's really cute and darling to sing.
Yes. And kind of real gutsy,
I particularly like my part of that for some reason.
Well, I particularly like mine. It was my grand.
Now you come to the
Beckwith.
The Beckwith.
Yes. They're marvelous songs.
And that's your solo group.
Yes, that's my solo group, and that's a great group. As a matter of fact, I was considering that Lois should really have them transposed into her range, because they're great songs. They're all ethnic Canadian folk songs. There's a French adaptation into a French Canadian, and
I love that one. It's a counting
yes,
song.
and the one from either Newfoundland or Nova Scotia. I think it's Newfoundland. The sort of English-Irish one is lovely.
Was that the one, Hooray Me Boys?
Yes, Hooray Me Boys for me.
In fact, the whole group.
It has one little problem. It has about 12 verses, and when I see them in front of me, I think, am I going to get the right verse in the right place? Mm-hmm. And then there's a Lithuanian one, which is adorable. And Lithuanian is one of those languages you have to fill your mouth up with marbles and hope for the best, But I have to tell you a story.
But you're very adept.
I have to tell you. With marbles? Rocks in the head, that's what I've got. Anyway, I keep losing my marbles. Anyway.
It gives you a very good accent.
The CBC is marvelous. I must tell you, they're marvelous. They have these songs, what do you call it when they pay for something to be done for you? Commissioned. They commission them. And they said, and I said, I got these songs like two and a half weeks before I was to do the broadcast for the first time, and I said, but one is in Lithuanian and the other one is in Ukrainian. I mean, Ukrainian, I'm certain I can find some, but where do I find some? Oh, they said, well, we know you know, you're very good at languages. You'll find somebody. But I was on tour on the West Coast at the time. So finally, I was singing in Buffalo, rented a car, drove up, and I called, you know, Leslie Zubra, the singer?
Yes. Oh,
yes. She's an adorable girl. Oh, she said, I know just the man. She's a little priest at the Lithuanian church. I'll take you over. And he's an adorable man. And he looked kind of like a, well, not Santa, he wasn't heavy, but he had a face like you imagine Santa Claus would have under all the beard. And he said, oh, darling, come in and sit down. Yes, how many verses? I said, 7 verses. I said 7 verses. He said, oh, yes. He reached down, he got a bottle of wine. Well, for every verse that goes well, I'll give you a glass of wine. You can imagine it took me a little while, but I learned the verses.
I like him.
Yeah, he was very sweet.
That's
but
a
he was
beautiful
very
approach.
Did you
helpful.
learn all 7 at once, dear?
Yes. No,
7
one glass at a
in-
time.
I mean, in one sitting, as it were.
Yes, one sitting, one slumping down. And then next one, of course, is Ukrainian.
Yes.
The last one, and is an adorable one because it reminds me of my childhood. It's a French-Canadian woman, you know, over the back, you know, I recorded these songs, when I listen to it, I laugh because it's really it's one of those counting songs where you add something every time. And you
have that wonderful
cross your eyes and hope for the
rural
best.
accent.
Yeah, well, it's kind of fun to do.
L'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. L'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. La femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. La femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. La fille de la femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. La fille de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le cavalier, la fille, la femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le cavalier, la fille, la femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le chien, le cavalier, la fille, la femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le chien, le cavalier, la fille, la femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. La queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme de l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. La queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le bout de queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le bout du poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. Le bout du poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. L'extrémité du bout du poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. L'extrémité du bout du poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. L'extrémité du bout du poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché. L'extrémité du bout du poil du bout de la queue du chien, du cavalier, la fille, la femme, l'habitant de Serroc s'en va au marché.
L'extrémité, indeed.
What can you say after that?
Nothing.
She's done it.
Yeah. Oh, that is too much. Well, if I can collect myself here, 5 songs from a Canadian folk collection arranged by John Beckwith. Hey, I've got control again. J'ai perdu mon amant. There was a woman in our town, Hanushia. Now, Hanushia was the
Ukrainian
song, and Rock Lightly Little Duck was the Lithuanian,
That's
right?
it.
And then that beautiful L'Habitant de Saint-Roch.
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 Yeah, we found out from the Quebecois. There's a town just outside of Quebec City, and you must say Saint-Roch, even though it's spelled R-O-C-H, in this particular case.
Instance, right. Now,
and of course her diction was so superbly clear, of course. We got the whole thing.
And the dialect was so beautiful.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow. Maureen Forrester and wow, Yudi Weiner at the piano.